inspirational speech, which I think we can take with us when we go back to our respective home countries and maybe learn something of how we can work and collaborate across cultures. So Pellegrino.
Pellegrino.
Right.
The wine, right?
Water.
I'm seeing in Pellegrino.
I really did pay the value on this. I'm going to show you a photograph from 1993. People don't believe me when I'm introduced like that sometimes. It's a photograph that I took from a stage in Madrid in 1993 when I was playing drums for a band, and we were asked to warm up for a band which was and is very well known. So this is the photo that I took. I'll say, yeah.
Woohoo! Wow!
So I just put that in for you since you used it, alright? And just after that photo was taken, by the way, I know none of those 80,000 are there to see me or I played a festival in Norway just after that, and that's how I ended up in Norway actually, yeah. But for those who don't know me, haven't heard me, my parents are Italian. They both come from a city called Napoli. Have you heard of Napoli?
Yeah.
What's Napoli famous for?
Crime! Crime!
Pizza.
Yeah, exactly, crime.
My parents left Mafia Napoli, Mafia Pizza Napoli in 1960.
Mafia
And they
pizza.
moved to the UK, which is where I was raised, which is why I speak English like this. Because people often still today surprised that I don't speak English like this. I don't. And I know there are some people from Italy. Where are you? The Italians? Where are you? Italians? They've left already? No, sure. And I've been in Norway now for 20 plus years. Some of the companies I work with, I like to mention that I worked for many years for this company here, so I'm familiar with the shipping industry and what kind of work you deal with. The past 30 years I've traveled the world in various formats, observing people. And I want to share my observations of people from around the world with you. Now, I'd love to go through all 46 countries and tell you how you communicate. But I've only got 30 minutes and that would be really boring, alright? So I can't do that. But for someone who's traveled on average 100 travel days a year for the past 30 years, I got the perfect name. Pellegrino means pilgrim, somebody who travels very much. Because when I was born, my father took one look at me and said, "This boy will travel very much, I call him Pellegrino." Right? A self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, he regretted that decision a little bit when he saw his grandchildren. Look at these three beautiful Italian kids. Because he looks at them and then he looks at me and he says, "Pellegrino, I think you travel too much." He said, that line was a beautiful line, and it tells us something really important about human beings, and it's the following. My father had a subconscious image in his head of how his grandchildren will look one day. And then suddenly he sees them, and the image in front of him doesn't match the image in his head. We have a gap, and it's that gap that makes life exciting and sometimes challenging. And that's what cross-cultural communication is about. How do you react when the images in front of you don't match the images in your head? I'll give you an example. Think of standing in line. You would know exactly how to stand in line here because you've seen this image before, right? You would know how to stand in line here too. You know instinctively what to do because you've seen these images before. That's why you're calm, no reactions. But what about this one here? Okay?
It's a sensible way of doing it.
It is. You've got a lot of questions. And this is what diversity is really. Diversity is nothing more than how you react to images you haven't seen before. Because all three systems work equally well, do they not? They all achieve exactly the same goal, just in different ways. Because today the world is changing. The world is changing really fast. And who would have thought that this would have happened in Germany? Anyone from Germany here? Right? Who would have thought? We were all shocked. Okay? I was equally shocked when I read this article in an Italian newspaper this year in June. The article's here, where a tourist boat employee from Naples was robbed by German The world is upside down. We just don't expect this, because we've got this image in our head that all Germans are honest, and all Italians are dishonest, right? And I play with this a lot. I play with people's images all the time. I travel a lot, so I play with people. My favorite game is to put in this phrase when I talk to people in a natural way. It usually happens at an airport. Okay? Recently somebody said to me, can you just watch my bag? I'm just picking up a sandwich. I'll be right back. And I said immediately to the guy, sure, you can trust me, in my lovely British accent. This British accent that makes me sound intelligent and charming and trustworthy, right? Yes.
That'd be right.
It works brilliantly well. It works almost as well with a Norwegian accent. You can trust me. Don't worry, I'm from Norway. Your bags will still be here when you come back. You can trust me. But the one that never works is this one here.
Yes.
You can trust me. Don't worry, I'm from Italy. I'm from Napoli. Your bags will still be here. Nobody has ever trusted me. Sometimes they just take the bags with them. And it's funny, but it's completely unfair, isn't it, right? It's completely unfair. And yet that image is stuck in the head, so you've got to challenge the images in your head. You know, after I met my wife in Norway, she went to England for 2 years. After 2 years, she said to me, I want to go back to Norway. Will you come with me? You know, I was very negative to that, actually. Sorry, Norwegians. I was. And she was trying to convince me to move to Norway. We were sitting on a beach in Italy on holiday. She goes, come to Norway, I will make you happy. She says, we have beaches in Norway too. And the image that popped up in my head when she said we have beaches in Norway too was this one here. Why would I change this for this? Why would I do that? I want a beach in Italy. Or is this a beach in Italy?
It's here. It's just a way. We went there.
That's right. So I do it too. I've got these images too, and they trick me. Those images don't tell the whole truth, right? You've got to challenge the images because the world is changing and really fast. Put up your hand if you remember what this was. Yeah. Put up your hand if you know what that is. It's usually this plastic thing. If you didn't want anyone to record over the VHS cassette, you took that out and it was protected. Next question, when was the last film sold from Hollywood in VHS format? When was the last year you could watch Love Actually in VHS format? Many people think it was the 90s, it was 2008. Yeah, wow. 10 years ago. It feels like 100 years, doesn't it? 10 years, that's how quickly the world is changing. So when this website, which has a minimum age of 18, they tried this first. Your age, I'm not a... That's too easy. For a 14-year-old, they just put 18, I am not a robot, you're in. So they changed it to this here. What is the image? The world is changing. And you would think the culture's changed too, but in fact they aren't changing as quickly as we think. Yeah, they're evolving, but they're not changing as fast as we think. Culture is the way we do things around here, just to keep it simple, okay? The way we do things around here. Now, if you want to find out how to shake hands and bow and all that stuff, you can buy books on it, you can Google it. I'm not going to talk about those things. I want to talk about attitudes, the stuff you won't find on Google so easily. So let's start with a little exercise. Imagine that you're the passenger in a car which is being driven by your best friend. Your friend hits a pedestrian. It's an accident. Alright? You know your friend was driving at 50 in a 30 zone. You know that. There's no doubt in your mind. There are no witnesses. And your friend's lawyer says if you were to testify under oath that your best friend was driving at 30, it might save him or her from serious consequences. Would you lie in court to help your friend? Don't think too much. Raise your hand if your answer is yes. Probably yes. Raise your hand if your answer is probably no.
They're all lawyers.
Right?
They're all lawyers.
Next question. Raise your hand if you think I would lie for my best friend. You can trust me, come on. This is actually being done. This is not the Bible I'm showing you. It's not the Holy Book. It's an indication. But based on the answers of 65,000 people working in business, percentage of respondents who said they would probably not lie in court looks like this. We've got Finland, Sweden, Norway, Germany, USA, Poland, France, Italy, India, Brazil, China, Russia, Venezuela, Nigeria. Do we have anyone from Nigeria here? Right. Now, Nigerians look at this, and I've done this in Nigeria many times, and Nigerians look at this and go, okay, we came last, and the Norwegians are there, yeah, you know? But one clever Nigerian said to me once, all right, how would the graph look like if it said, percentage of respondents who said they would probably lie for their friend, regardless of the consequences to themselves? How would that graph look? And we know what that would look like. It would be the other way around. But this is what we've got, and this is backed up by statistics. You can check yourself, the corruption index. The darker the country, the more the corruption, right? And there we have all the way up the top there doing really well, Italy not doing so well, right? And you know, you've got these other countries here, the United Kingdom, and then, you know, you can go through the table, you can look this up yourself, all right? And then we've got one more, of course, down here. But let's go back to this, this table here. Because when you look at those behaviours, you know, is lying good in Nigeria? Of course it isn't. Lying isn't good. You don't raise your kids to lie, do you? I've never met a Nigerian parent say, meet my son, he's a brilliant liar, you should hear him sometimes. And if you ask why they lie, you get some very interesting answers. And all of those answers have one thing in common. They all have a positive intention behind them. This is really important. When you're working with other nationalities or other cultures, or just people who think differently to you, whatever they do, there's a positive explanation behind it, a positive intention. And that, my friends, is what we call respect. Now, I'm a language person. My education is based in languages. When I see a word, I need to take it apart, find out what it really means. And respect means to look again. Can you see that? Rewind, repeat, spectator, spectacle. Look again. It doesn't mean agree. Some people think respect, if I respect you, I agree with you. No. But I am willing to look at you again from a new angle, from a new perspective. And the key to cross-cultural collaboration is the ability to throw away those images that you have stuck in your head and look again. The patterns are there. I have to keep it simple today. I know it's complex. You can divide the world up into two basic colours, red and blue. And I want to show you what some of the common patterns are between the red and blue countries. Blues trust in systems because they work. Right? So when I park my car in Oslo one day, my wife tells me very clearly that I can't park my car like that. Why not? I ask. She says, because your wheel is on the line. You can't have your wheel on the line. What are you talking about? I said. She says, listen, in Norway, you can't have any of the black tyre on the line. It has to be inside the box. You have to be able to put one finger between the tyre and the line, and you're okay. And all the Norwegians here are nodding. Yeah, that's right. I said, what about the car's butt? She says, no, the butt can hang outside the box, but the wheel has to be inside the box. Question to the Norwegians, did I receive a fine? There it is. Do you feel sorry for me? No, you get no sympathy. You get no sympathy. And I know there's a positive intention behind it. You know, you want rules to make life predictable. They're easy to interpret. There's a good explanation. But it's difficult for me. And blue cultures, it's all about the equal treatment. That's one of the many positive intentions behind the rules, behind stupid rules. It's equal treatment. It's what I call the sorry no culture. It's if it doesn't fit in something, in a framework, sorry no. So do you think that Norwegian police car should receive a fine?
Yes.
Well,
No.
yeah. The police in Oslo have got problems now because they're getting fines for parking like this. But they have to in a way, otherwise it has no value, right? Red cultures, you see, they focus more on people. Why? Because the systems don't work as well. Right? So while you've got equal treatment, sorry, no cultures, this is more everything is negotiable, you know, from you, my friend, you know. You know what I mean, eh? So when I park my car in Italy, this is where my family comes from. They come from a village here. You don't follow the systems, they're useless. What you do in red cultures is you have to find somebody, a person who can help you. Someone with the power to help you, right? And then you get that person and you talk to them. And you get them to like you. Because if they like you, it might just help you. So I said to my wife, wait here with the kids, I'm going to go and fix this. Buongiorno. I speak Napoletano, that helps. I start talking, is there a parking place? She says, sure. And then she says, but wait a minute, where are you from? I say, well, Norway, England. Yeah, you speak Napoletano, this is a dialect from Napoli. How you do that? I learned from my father and my mother. Where are they from? They come from a little village up here called Forino. Forino, I have an uncle in Forino. Really? Yeah. We started. We laugh, we smile, we connect. She touches my arm. Norwegians, how many traffic wardens have touched your arm? Right? They just don't do that. After 5 minutes, we're getting on really well. She says to me, what was your question? I forgot. Parking house. She says, sure there's a parking, but don't park your car there. Why not, I asked. Because it's too expensive. That is a lot of money. What shall I do? She says, today is your lucky day. I will help you today. I like the way you speak Napoletano. It's very good, very good. Park over there. Where? And she points to a sign. Private parking, it says. Now, I've just received a fine in Norway, and I'm thinking, really? Plus, poor person whose sign it is, you know? They put that there for a reason, right? She says, no, it's okay, he's not here today. I know him, he's not here today. Yeah? And then she says to me, listen, if you want to spend 40 euro, that is up to you. It's a free work. You do what you like. But if you park there, I give you a parking fine for 30 euro. You save yourself 10 euro. There you go. That's another way of doing it. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say that one is better than the other. But what I am here to do is to challenge you and say, if you think that one's better, look again at the other one. Look again. And what you're looking for is not the negative bits. You don't have to tell me what doesn't work in South Italy. I already know. But do you know what does work? What are we good at? We, not just we, but Reds generally. We're good at thinking outside the box, because you have to. We're pragmatic. We work it out between us and leave the authorities out of it if you can too. Right? We're good at relationship building, we're great salespeople, and we make people feel good. Do you see what I mean? Once again, I am not saying that we don't have bad things. I know we do. But we have good things too. And that's what it's all about. And then the next thing is, imagine if you can put the two together in one. Wouldn't that be amazing? Mm-hmm. The best of both worlds? Because that's exactly what I've done with these three little lovely people. Yeah! They've got the best of the Norwegian, the best of the Italian, and the best of the British. And I'm quite proud of the results. I know I'm a little bit impartial. I know that. But the teachers tell me too. It's about respect, guys. It's about looking again. And that's what I had to do when I arrived in Norway. I had to look again. There were so many strange things. But I received some great advice from a great friend in England who's a psychologist. He said to me before I left for Norway, he said, if you want this to be less tough than it already will be, try to be three things. What's that? He said, be open. Say yes. Don't say no to things. Say yes. Be curious and be brave. All right, fair enough. Because when I arrived there, I thought, I need to meet Norwegians. I need to meet the Norwegians. How do I do that? Well, my frame of reference, my Italian frame of reference, I like to bike. So Sunday morning is a great biking day. And you can bike anywhere in Italy on a Sunday morning, stop at a cafe and have your bike there, and it won't take long before someone comes up to you and talks to you. It's great, it's easy. So I thought, right, I'm going to take a bike ride to the centre of Oslo on a Sunday morning. What met me, Norwegians? They all know they're all doing this. Oh, what a stupid idea. That's a really stupid idea. Because this is what met me, right? There are a lot of bikers there. I asked the Norwegian, where is everybody? He said the strangest thing. He said to me, they are probably in the forest. What? The Norwegian forest? You should try it sometime. All right, James said, be open, be curious, be brave. So that's what I did. I started walking around your forests. And it took such a long time to get used to a new way of thinking. And it does take time. It takes much longer than you think. And now that image is in my head. And then my father comes to visit. It's Sunday. And my wife says to my father, Mr. Riccardi, would you like to take a walk in the forest? And my father's, why? He doesn't understand. And I have to explain to my wife that where my father comes from, if you say to another person, hey, you want to take a walk in the forest? That's your last walk. You cannot take it for granted. It's in your head. You've got to respect, you've got to look again. But when I did look again, I started seeing amazing things, right? Look at this, back to this map here. The thing is, if you look at the top 10, 12 countries, with the exception of Singapore, they all have one thing in common, and that's equality. It's all about equality. And coming to Norway, just to say something really cool about the Norwegians here, I learned equality. And if you want to work with the Nordics and the Norwegians, since we are in Norway, I thought I'd give you a little insight into Norwegian culture. You've got to know what this photo is. 1973, there's an oil crisis out there. You can't get fuel. So Norwegians have been told to don't drive your car, take the bus or the train or walk. So they're all saving fuel on this Sunday morning in Oslo. And this picture became very iconic because of this guy here. This is the King of Norway. He's there with his people doing this thing. And this is a really important value. And this picture, this image, I show this all over the world. Yeah, exactly. If all the non-Norwegians are like, wow, that's amazing. It is amazing. And the tradition is alive even today. Here's the Norwegian, because the message is clear. I'm down to earth. I know I'm a king, but I'm down to earth. I'm normal. I'm one of you. Talk to me. You don't need to be afraid of me. Talk to me. And that tradition is alive even today. Here's the Norwegian Prime Minister doing her shopping. Look at this, just being a normal person, buying salt, the cheapest thing you can buy in it. I'm a normal, down-to-earth person. I'm going to take a selfie, of course. I'm a normal, down-to-earth person. Here's me with my husband. I'm a normal, down-to-earth person. So you can laugh at this, but this is the essence of taking away fear in a working culture. This is what it's all about, yeah? And we can learn from each other. You've got to look again. Now, Daniel Corner's written a fantastic book called The Culture Code, where he has studied for a long time what is it that makes culture successful? What is it they do? And he's basically come down to 3 questions. If you can answer yes to the following 3 questions in your culture, and when I say culture, I don't mean just your country, I mean your company, I mean your family, you name the group, these are the 3 questions you have to be able to answer yes to. Are we safe? You and me. Us. Are we connected? And do we share a future together? For everybody who's married or in a relationship, you can try this with your loved one and see how that goes, alright? Alright? Are we connected? Possibly the most important of them all, because our brains are wired for connection. Absolutely. So since we're in Norway, I thought I'd share a little thing for the non-Nordics here. When you come to the Nordic countries, you've got an extra challenge because they love their space. They love their space. So my father came to visit for a second time with my sister. We're driving over the central plateau in Norway. Beautiful scenery. Most Norwegians and Nordics, not just, they look at this and go, wow, you know, look at this, it's so peaceful, it's fantastic, and it's so tranquil, and oh, I feel so calm. That's not the reaction you got from my father, who's obviously a little bit nervous there. This is the guy who was asked to go for a walk in the forest. And after a while he turns to him and he says, stop the car, I need to take a photograph. My sister in the back says, why? There's nothing here. And my father answers, I know, I've never seen nothing before. And one of the biggest cultural differences, when you look around the world, one of the biggest cultural differences is actually this whole space dynamics. Blue countries like their personal space. At work too, they're very independent. They work in teams, but they like to work in, they like the space. Stand in the line anywhere in a blue country. That distance is really important. That one is even more important. Right? all the reds in the room, try this. If you want to have a bit of fun in a blue country, try this. Move forward and see how far can you go before you get a reaction. Anyone from Finland? Anyone from Finland? They are the world champions of space. No one needs more space than the Finns. This is the country. This is the country that gave us Nokia, connecting people. Amazing. You know what? That's not in Finland. Anyone from India? Anyone from India? It's a little bit different in India, of course. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, there we go. So, mind the gap. Now, of course, in today's world, cross-border communications are a lot easier because we got these, right? We feel much more connected, or at least we think we do. And we're talking about the smartphone society today. And listen, you know, I work with people's behavior. Why do they do the things they do? What drives them to do? I'll tell you. We use our mobile phones for very good reasons, and it's not only communication. It's because we feel we'll always be heard when we use them, right? Yeah, send a message, you get a reply. Because I can put my attention where I want it to be. I control where I put my attention. And most importantly, I will never be alone. I just have to send a tweet or I send a message and I'll get a reply. And we think it makes us feel as if we're connected. The problem is it has the opposite effect. Loneliness is the biggest problem of society today. And I say, is there an antidote? Well, there is an antidote. Of course there is. And I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to take the words of Jack Ma. Do we know who Jack Ma is? Right? The founder of Alibaba. A man who applied 10 times to Harvard Business School and was rejected 10 times. Yes. Not good enough for us. Now he's China's richest man.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's known for many good deeds, and he's a little bit strange, but he's a cool guy. So when he shows up at the Economic World Forum earlier this year in Davos, the whole media is there. The whole world's media is there to see Jack Ma. They want to hear what he has to say. And Jack Ma says, to gain success, a person will need high EQ, emotional intelligence, of which cultural understanding is one of them. Right? And everybody writes it down. You know, EQ, that's very EQ. And then he says, if you want to be respected, you need high LQ. What's LQ, everybody wonders? The IQ of love. And everybody looks at each other and goes, is Jack been smoking? He's dead serious. Jack is dead. You've got to believe in something. You've got to have values. And culture is values, yeah? You've got to have independent thinking. Think for yourselves. Don't just go with the flow. Break those barriers. He says that you've got to have teamwork. And cross-cultural understanding and awareness and respect is part of that, and you've got to care for others. That's what he's telling us. If it's good enough for Jack, it's good enough for me, right? And what he's saying is respect. Look again, look for opportunities. Don't always look at the barriers. You know, when I run my workshops, people expect me to come with all these problems of how difficult it is. No, it's fine. We've got a lot of common human values. Yeah, we've got certain differences, but we've got common values. And in my experience, as long as people are getting on well together and have common values, it's fine. It's when they disagree, have conflict, or are under stress, that's when the problems arise. So it's all about preempting the problems. And I'd like to finish off, I think, with a really cool film I want to show you, which was made by a Danish TV company. I'm sure the people from Denmark here, Denmark anyway? Denmark? No, Danes, where are you? They made this great TV. There are two messages in this film. Message number one, watch TV 2. Message number two is, in the world we live in today, where we have a tendency to put each other in boxes, what would it be like if we were open, curious, and brave, if we asked questions? And this is quite a nice little film which I'd like to show you here. Have a look at this. Or maybe not. Yeah, it's coming. There we go.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. the high earners, and those just getting by, those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here, the people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow, the religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde i rummet var klassens klovn? Hvem er bonusforældre?
And then suddenly, there's us. We who believe in life after death. We who've seen UFOs. And all of us who love to dance. We who've been bullied. And we who've bullied others. And then there's us, the lucky ones who've had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual, and we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life, and we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen it hundreds of times, I still get moved.
Yeah,
The little
yeah.
boy gets me every time, eh?
Yeah.
That poor little kid. And I can see the eyes watering. And it's not just because there are ladies in the room. Men do the same. It does. I've played this film all over the world. It's the same reaction anywhere I go. Because it touches everyone. And we've got more in common than we like to think. But you've got to respect, you've got to be curious, open, and brave. And I'd just like to finish off with the last story today, because that parking fine.
Really bugs
The
me.
parking fine. I said to my wife, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You know, the thing is, we think we can change the world. I found out the hard way that often